I wanted to make
Hello.
my case for why I think that we're getting really close to the end here. So Said Qasayanejad posted a tweet today, a really beautiful tweet, and he basically was just saying the messages that you guys have been repeating about how pay attention to trends, don't get involved in the magic and screaming of the regime, the
Be-
divisive.
Before 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 you continue, we need to mention to people who Said Qasaminejad is. Said Qasaminejad is the main number one advisor to Prince Reza Pahlavi. He's part of the Iran Prosperity Project and the main editor of the transition plan for the emergency booklet. So just want people to know who that is. Okay, so
Yeah,
continue.
and then I'm gonna put a couple of links in the chat. I don't want to pull them up myself because Twitter keeps asking me to sign in with my email laid bare. So I'm just going to put
Mhm.
those. One of them's from Potipto that I wanted to talk about. So if you could pull up the first one, it's
The
from
Iran
Iran.
International one.
Yeah.
Okay, here. Let's bring this up. Okay, let me zoom in. Translate. Says Iran international sources reported that since the beginning of the war between the Islamic Republic and America and Israel, 4,770 members of the IRGC besieged and riot suppression forces have been killed and more than 20,880 wounded.
This number, 4,700, is actually a number that I saw a long time ago. It's been about a week now. So that number has undoubtedly risen. Keep in mind that in the past few days, in the past about 3 to 4 days, the level of strikes, yeah, and Jeffrey's pointing up as well, the level of strikes that they've been conducting, for the first time, they used B-52 Stratofortresses to literally carpet bomb IRGC bases in Iran, and that happened, I think it was either last night or the night before. And these are 500-pound bombs and above, so the explosions are quite horrific. And so that number is undoubtedly higher up. They brought in their best CGs to man the checkpoints. They're getting killed. They brought in the al-Shaabi militia. Now they're getting killed. They've raised or they've lowered the age of enlistment to 12 in order to get more child soldiers at this point. They've also conducted recruitment for a unit called, it was like that suicide unit. I forgot what it was called, but it's essentially a volunteer unit of people that want to sign up to fight the Americans. And so this is all signaling to me an immense desperation that they have. And if you could pull up the second link, this is what I really want to show you in particular.
Potipto, the Potipto tweet.
So Petipto told us a couple of days ago on stream, and I'll read it out in a second, but he told us a couple days ago on stream that he believed about 70% of the regime's forces on the streets, manning the checkpoints and etc., have defected. And so he said, today I was roaming around the city level for about 9 hours. The number of checkpoints have decreased significantly, and the people inside the checkpoints have all changed too. Their appearance has shifted from that of military cadres to a bunch of ragtag terrorists in mismatched clothes, with keffiyeh wrap faces, so some of the Hashtashabis, and even some of the Bashijis are wearing them now too, and Kalashnikovs in hand. Almost no professional forces were visible, and most were either elderly or overweight folks or underage kids and fledgling Basijis. The state of their equipment and logistics is disastrous, from 2026 Hiluxes down to rusty, war-era Land Cruisers from the 80s and 90s that were mostly declared and retired. So he went out and he confirmed his statement earlier from a couple of days ago that indeed, and he spent his whole entire day doing this, that indeed, everywhere he went, he could see that there was mass degradation, which has been the entire point almost of this operation, is to remove the suppressive forces. That, along with statements from Saeed Qasemi, who's quite close to Reza Pahlavi, with that one clip of Reza Pahlavi at CPAC, when the Iranians did get near him, he said, and he must have been thinking about this, right? He's like, what can I tell my supporters who come to Texas to view me at CPAC? What is the one sentence I can tell them that would ease their minds? I know exactly how they feel. And all he said was, hang in there. And for one, I've full and complete confidence in him. I mean, he's the cornerstone of this entire operation, and so
Mhm.
that's my case. All of these points, I mean, it's nothing new that I've been saying. It's just we're getting more and more evidence. To speak about the echo chamber point, everyone that they talk to, the scholars and analysts and everything in Russia, in China, and a few other countries, they all say that America is making a grave mistake with this operation, that the Iranian people are not going to rise up, et cetera, et cetera. So I think those are examples of echo chambers because they're not even taking all of the facts into consideration. You, for example, are taking all of the facts into consideration. You watch a ton of regime propaganda, a ton of regime analysts. You see both sides very clearly, and I think that it can't be helped that logic and reasoning is pulling us towards the side that we are on now.
Okay, so for the sake of us not being in an echo chamber, let me push back on that and see what you think about my pushback, right? So again, this is me being a devil's advocate. So 4700 number, for the 4700 number is a very low number compared to the entire forces that they have, right? You say 4700 of them have died. I mean, they have hundreds and hundreds of thousands of staff members, right? So to me, I would be more impressed with the number of defections if we had numbers for that. Like to me, I don't think like them killing 4700s of IRGC, besiege, and riot suppression forces, that by itself is not going to do anything unless that number causes other people to defect. Like for every person that you kill, how many people are going to get the scared the shit out of them and just be like, you know what, I'm not getting paid enough for this. I'm not coming, right? So that is the real effect. And I don't know what that number is. We're getting so many reports that the number of defections are high, but none of that has been like 100% like verified, or nobody has put a number on it. Also, we don't know. I mean, like I don't know if that number has been offset by the number of people they're bringing in from al-Shaabi from Iraq or other places like Zainab Yun from Pakistan, Fatim Yun from Afghanistan, because we do know that the Islamic Republic has been able to continue selling its oil and gas through the Strait of Hormuz, and now not even at a discount anymore, with and at much higher prices. So they're making enough, and given that they're not running a country at all of every single U.S. dollars that they're making from their oil revenue, if I was them, I would just spend it on one thing and one thing only. Well, two things maybe: continuing to build drones to be able to put some pressure on the Hormuz Strait. That's number one. Number two, to hire militia from Iraq. I mean, we saw just a few days ago the whole caravan of al-Shaabi forces coming into Iran from Iraq, which we were talking about. Why didn't they take them out right there at the border? By the way, I really do think that the Americans and Israelis should just have so much firepower right now at the border of Iran and Iraq. That is, they should just completely hit anything that is trying to go from Iraq to Iran, like any form of anything that it even slightly resembles a military force, should just completely be destroyed and decimated. So I don't know why that border is like just so willy nilly people coming in and out right now, because that's what it takes. That's what it takes to make sure that the Iranian people will be able to win when they rise up. So to me, the question is not really about whether the Iranian people rise up, because the answer to that question has always been yes. So I don't know why this is different. To me, the question is, has the suppressing ability of the Islamic Republic been reduced enough, so that when they do the uprising, we're not going to see tens of thousands of them being killed anymore, right? So people talking about how overweight they are, or children, or unprofessional they look. I don't know if the people you're saying right now in the streets are the same people who are going to be doing the mass shooting at people if once we see the uprising, because the Hashishabi forces, they might not even be at the checkpoints. They might be just like in wherever they are, just like preparing their weapons for that day. So a lot of that, I don't know if there's any way, like, and visual people's eye testimony, like visual eye testimony is not really going to give us a full picture of what that is. It doesn't take that many people. It only takes like all over the country, a couple of thousands of al-Shaabi militias to be willing to use machine guns to shoot into the crowds of people to get again another tens of thousands of civilian casualties again, like we saw in early January. So that's my concern. Like they have done a really good job taking out so many checkpoints, Basiji bases, IRGC bases, Niri Intizami bases, but given the extra US dollars the Islamic Republic is making because of the high oil prices and the fact that they don't need to spend it on anything else right now because they're not running a country, will the Islamic Republic be able to hire as many mercenaries as it needs to replace all of that? That's my issue.
They have all this money that they've been extracting from oil, but yet they still have to bring in the militias. So it suggests that a lot of the Basijis still aren't willing to continue, and that's evident because lowered the requirements of the age requirement and bringing in the militias and whatever. The wounded is also much more of a deterrence. They'll see a lot of the dead, but the wounded live. They talk. They're pretty resentful. At the same time, it's been almost 4 months now. They're not being paid. I know, speaking to people in Iran myself, the prices are astronomical. Even people who have saved up a lot of money are truly suffering right now. I can't imagine that the Basijis are exempt from that. And we've also spoke about all of the other psychological effects that are probably going on for the Basijis right now that are targeting the lower level members to defect. I think money helps at a point, and I think if they had all this money simply 2 months ago before the strikes happened, they could have done a lot more. I think right now we're reaching a point where the window for the people to rise up is about to open. I don't think the deterrence is, I don't think the capability is there yet. I think if people came out right now with the few thousand that they even still have manning the machine guns, I think there's going to be a mass slaughter of the Iranian people. I think we're approaching it, and we're going to get there soon, but we're not there yet.
But remember, the Iraqi forces don't have to spend their money inside Iran. They're getting paid. They're going to go back to Iraq, spend it there, where things are not that expensive. They're getting paid in US dollars. They're not getting paid in real. They're getting paid in US dollars, and they take that back into Iraq and spend it there, where things are not that expensive.
They can. However, as of yesterday, we started striking a lot of the Hezbollah and Hashtag economic buildings that they use to transport their money and launder and whatever. We've also been hammering Hashtag. We've been hammering them for about 2 weeks. Extremely heavy bombing, strafing runs, a lot of drone strikes that we're conducting on them. I think that's why we probably saw that convoy that came into Iran include family members. It's because those people were probably the more like elite, higher up people in the terrorist organization who got to go away. But yeah, as it stands right now, still the bottom line is we're not there yet. We're probably going to get there soon.